Ketchupedia!
Ooh, I like that
nice.
one.
Okay, one more time. I'm going to try it again. Okay.
Ketchupedia Words for Writers podcast and Ketchupedia Poetry Radio is a program by Flying Ketchup Press in Kansas City, Missouri to develop new and diverse voices. Our dream is to salvage lost treasure troves of written and illustrated work to create worlds of wonder and delight, to share your story. Find us at www.flyingketchuppress.com.
I'm Polly Alice Artist. I'm a poet and managing editor of Flying Ketchup Press. My word for the day, a term people call the drawer. Writers often say, I put it in the drawer, which means, back in the days of typewriters, you literally did have a drawer. You literally had some papers, you had a manuscript or an idea, and you really took those papers and put them inside a literal drawer. Nowadays, I think papers get lost the same or more by being stuck in our computer or a thumb drive, an old blog, sometimes maybe in a journal, a handwritten journal, and sometimes, yes, printed out and stuck in a drawer. Words can get lost. They can get lost in a lot of places. I love metaphors, and I've realized that this word has totally changed my life as a writer because everything I do every day is about the drawer. So let me explain it a little bit more. Whether you have your words, your creative work stuck in a box, a closet, a hard drive, that imagery of the drawer still works. Your work is sitting there. It's lost like buried treasure. And maybe it's lost because you were waiting for your own psyche to catch up. You were waiting for when you're ready to finish that work. Sometimes I've told myself, I'm just going to grow up a little more and then I'll come back to this manuscript. Maybe that work is lost because you felt like you received a harsh edit. Somebody rejected that work, and so you find it hard to go back to. Or maybe you didn't think it was good enough. Maybe it was just an idea. But I feel like I've discovered the more I meet writers, when I have a writing degree, a master's of fine arts in writing, and I would meet people in critique group, hear these beautiful pieces of work, and then discover that those pieces, the pieces I loved, had been put into the drawer. And I didn't like that. I felt like I wanted to find out what happened to those wonderful characters, ideas, research, and I wanted to see them come out into the light of day. So whether or not that author had decided to just let that work rest to get perspective, I really just wanted everyone to see it. I just love sharing good writing. So that's one reason I started Flying Ketchup Press, to help get those lost works back out of the drawer. And how do we do that? Maybe we do that because we finally have the energy and courage to share that work. Maybe that's because we let go of our perfectionism, we let go of the critique, or the unkind words someone said about that work. Maybe we feel like we have the ability to fix it up a little, or just let it go and let it go out into the world. The drawer is the whole reason I became an editor. I just don't like to think of these wonderful stories stuck in that dark place, languishing away forever. I want writers, poets, and artists to draw out that work, their lost treasures, and submit. Now, this has happened to me before. I had a master's thesis that I was supposed to work on for one semester. At first, I thought it was supposed to be 40 pages, and I did the research, but I thought, what if I worked ahead? I know it's only supposed to be one semester, but what if, knowing that it's coming, I worked on it for 3 or 4 semesters ahead so that I will have the most beautiful master's thesis known to man? Now, this is a perfectionist problem, of course, but also I thought that I could get a scholarship. Sometimes a great master's thesis was awarded a prize. So I thought, I'm going to save some money and have fun and work ahead, be a perfectionist, work on my master's thesis a little longer than you're supposed to in my degree plan. So I worked on my master's thesis for 2 years. And during that time, my house burned down. I had a new baby boy, was going to have another daughter, but we lost that baby midterm. So I had a lot going on. My grandmother died. Thankfully, my house burned down, so I moved a lot of stuff happened. In that time, I just kept researching. But meanwhile, of course, when I finally finished it, they said, this is actually supposed to be 20 pages, not 40, a very short thesis because it was a combo. And I said, okay, I reduced it down, turned it in, and of course it didn't win a prize. This was kind of a convoluted, thick, heavy, deep thesis that maybe was a little too underdeveloped as far as it didn't fit in those 20 pages. And I thought, man, I didn't win the prize. I'm not famous. Did I waste my time on this work? I put it in a drawer. But that work really changed me. And it developed the way I believe about writing today and how I treat writers and myself, how I treat my own ideas and other people's ideas. I loved that paper. And one day I saw a contest that said, submit your student master's thesis to this contest and you could win, a little bit of money and a trip to come speak at our conference about dreams. And my thesis fits, so it was called the International Society for the Study of Dreams. I became a member and I sent my thesis in, but there was a catch. I had to turn it to 6,000 words, which is very short, about, 6 to 12 pages, depending on how you space it. So anyway, I did it. I reduced that thesis down. I spent a day, I remember, at my aunt's house alone, just quietly writing, thinking, and all those years of work seemed to make sense suddenly, and I was able to really clarify my thoughts. I turned it in, and I did win. I won a prize. I got my first check ever for writing, one of the few, and it was so rewarding to be told, this work is good, this research is sound, this inspires us, we like it, and come and share it at the conference. So I did. So that's a story for me about how pulling something out of the drawer really changed my life. It was really fun to travel and speak at a conference and to be well received, even though I was one of the smaller, side workshops. And it was really nice to hear a compliment about my research on writing and dreams and where our ideas come from, our imagination, how we work with those ideas as writers. I called it the subconscious writing process. So that just really gave me a lot of confidence. But that first step, sitting alone in a room and taking out an old piece of work out of the drawer, I had to do that myself. And so I think getting work out there involves first our own courage. Second of all, I guess allowing ourselves to be open to rejection. It involves a lot of looking inward because we have to decide, is this piece in the drawer because it needs work? Or is it in the drawer because I need to share it again? Some of my friends will submit their work 100 to 300 times to agents and publishers, and they do get amazing book deals. And some of us, maybe we have a smaller market, and we have a piece that's not meant for the entire world to be excited about. Maybe it's a regional piece or a regional topic, but that doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be shared. So I'm hoping that with Ketchupedia, we can help writers catch up, learn the lingo, get connected, and be better prepared to share their work, and find more places to share their work, and get that empowerment that comes with being a writer who lets your voice be heard. We don't live back in the days of the typewriter anymore, and sending in work just one way isn't going to suit us. Our population is bigger. There's more writers. Our literacy in some ways has improved in parts of the world, and more of us are writers. And when you have that writer's heart, that creative heart that needs to write for your own personal health, you also want to share that energy and that insight with others. And so we need to provide more places to do that. And I think all of us should think about ways that we could share our creative work. So let's say you have a really great neighborhood. One of my friends moved out to the Ivanhoe neighborhood to build community. One of my friends lives over in another area. They've got a neighborhood that has meetings and they give get-togethers. What if you did a newsletter for that neighborhood? Some of these old school ideas could really work. if you're a writer, maybe you could be writing. And if you've already written things and they're in a drawer, maybe you could find a place to share them. You just might encourage someone else with their creativity, and I think that's what it's all about. Why not just get it out of the drawer? Right on. Your voice is important. Thanks for tuning in today to Word Power. This is Polly Alice Artist, Managing Editor of Flying Ketchup Press. See you next time.
Ketchupedia is brought to you by Flying Ketchup Press. What began as a collection of words for writers is now a springboard for classes, podcasts, and radio, one word at a time. Ketchupedia's name, logo, jingle, and concept were created with help from students from Kansas City Art Institute and Greenville University's Experience First capstone class, and inspired by our friends at Steele's Used Books. Join us every week on Sundays at 6 o'clock Central on One Kansas City Radio, KONN 100.1 FM, or wherever you get your podcasts.